So before this video just begin, I want to quickly give a few disclaimers. So first of all, because of course photography is an art-based subject, the work here will be and the marking will be extremely subjective, so just bear that in mind when you watch any kind of video with someone showing their work or when you kind of look at exemplar work. And I'm also not going to be showing my exam component. I'm only going to be showing my personal investigation, which is of course worth 60% of my overall grade. And also I did also dedicate one day a week just to do a photo shoot every day, one day a week to my coursework, which I know is probably more than the average person. And also photography is one of my hobbies, so of course I did probably spend a bit more time than the average person on coursework. So I just want to say that before I begin, because of course I don't want you guys to look at this and be quite overwhelmed with the amount of work that I had, for example. So to begin with, I started off with a contents page. Now you really don't have to do this at all, but I decided I wanted to, just to keep quite organised and to keep everything together. So as you can probably tell, the title of my entire personal investigation was reclamation, as I focused on the reclamation of nature and just like nature taking over humanity and civilization. So you can see I've split it up into topic, the headings of the topics, and then the kind of numbers are how many photo shoots I did per topic. And you do have to remember that this was over quite a long period of time. I started off with Liverpool, so some schools will do like a big trip where people will gain inspiration from this trip. Some schools won't, but our school just decided to go to Liverpool for the arts and the culture and stuff. And as you can see, I've got my contact sheet on the right hand side, got some analysis and some of my main focal pictures on the left. Got more contact sheets here just of art galleries and some places we visited for inspiration. Art galleries will boost your grade if you can visit any museums, anything like that, even if it's not directly relevant to your topic. More museums and some more street art. Got another kind of location, Lamp Point, that we visited. And then I kind of brought everything together, put all of my main ideas into one. So this is called like a kind of, I don't know, I guess like not a contact sheet, but a rationale sheet. So I've got the concept of reflections. Then I've got an artist who I kind of enjoyed to look at his work, and the idea of street art. But those ideas are quite narrow, and I wanted to pick something broader because I knew I would have to spend quite a lot of time and energy into this project. I also did some edits from my favourite pictures, and I just showed the before and after and the kind of process of editing them. Then I moved on and I decided, okay, I know what I want to do. I want to focus on nature and the reclamation of nature, after finding some pictures I found on Pinterest and ones I had previously taken of the topic. So I got that from the picture of the flowers of the street art, just to the left there. Then I started with my first photographer. This is a really good tip. I would recommend starting with a photographer just so you have some kind of starting point. And the one that I found, I think I either found from Pinterest or just through a quick Google search. There's no shame in doing that. But I found these pictures and I knew I just wanted to focus on this for my project. So did some photography research, got a quote in there and got some main pictures. And then I also did a second photographer just because I wanted to have kind of a diverse range of photographs that I had for inspiration. Then I began with my first photo shoot. I have my analysis to that side, and I can't lie, this is a bit of a boring page, so it's just literally my pictures. Got more pictures on here and more analysis. Contact sheet here. It's always great to do an evaluation at the end of each photo shoot, to be honest. Then we've got edits. Edits are really helpful because honestly, sometimes you do end up using them to gain inspiration for your next kind of stage. So if you wanted to do like an editing process and then move on with that process, for example, into the next photo shoot. Then I did some more photographer research. I can't lie, I don't know how I waffled my way through this, but you really don't have to do this much writing at all. I began with my next photo shoot. So this one I was moving away from kind of natural reclamation to more modern architecture. And I always put the location of where I'm at the side. You don't have to at all. More contact sheets and evaluation. And I did actually do these two locations in the same day, but I've split each side by location just to make it a bit more organised. Here I went to a cemetery and more photographs, contact sheet, my editing, always add screenshots to show the process. Then we move on to my next topic, which is moving a bit away from kind of more traditional architecture. And here's me just explaining what I want to do, how I want to pursue this, and what I want it to like visually look like, and locations I have in mind. Then I've got some case studies in here. I did kind of reference a short film. And we've got my first location photo shoot. And I took quite a range of pictures here, as you can see. We've got my contact sheets and analysis. And another location. You can also see, like, if you read the analysis that I'm writing, this is what I would do next time, this is what I think went well, and that's really good evaluation that examiners like to see. Got more pictures, contact sheet, and then another location I did on the same day, another contact sheet, more edits. And then also don't be afraid to kind of, if your timeline doesn't work out with your project, that's absolutely fine. So do base things around holidays and trips you have planned. So I did actually, by the time I went on holiday, I did have this location in mind, but I actually didn't visit it until I had finished this topic. So as you can see here, I've just added it in, revisiting. More pictures. Then I kind of shifted. I said I wanted to move on to floral and botany and flowers, just from these pictures that I had found in my previous work. I showed some previous examples of flowers that I had taken and what I would do differently. And then some research, not necessarily artist research, but research on the topic and different forms of photography which may be found. Then I've got more research here. This one is mainly still life and art, and it's okay to have different art forms. It doesn't have to all be photography. And then I've got my art gallery, these were my pictures, but I did just remove the background to make it seem a bit more organised and neat. I've got the references, the painters, everything like that. And you can see here I'm kind of just gaining inspiration while also indirectly citing artists / photographers. More pictures from the art gallery, contact sheet. Then I'm talking about a different form of floral photography. And then I go out and I recreate this kind of macro kind of style, I suppose. Just this, I wouldn't say this is a photo shoot, this was more just a reference point for me. But I did also do some edits of those, and these were my contact sheets. Can't lie, I don't know what happened about this edit. I don't know why I stuck it in here, but whatever. Then I've also got some ones I took on holiday, went to an art gallery, and I thought this was really interesting and relevant to my topic. And again, moving on to incorporating water into flowers. Now, those pictures I took are just random pictures, but they're all extremely relevant. For example, went to a university campus tour, and that picture I just saw it and I thought, okay, you know what, that will go in really nicely. And then I've got photographer research, I've got my analysis, and I've also hyperlinked a video kind of where they explain the process of this, I guess, ice floral photography, just because my previous photo shoot was a bit boring. It was just pictures of flowers, which is fine if you kind of put a twist on it, but I decided I wanted to do something a bit different, so I decided I would go and do this. And the first attempt was not great. Second attempt also not the best. So I tried it again and I was quite happy with this outcome. And examiners do like to see that you've trialed and tested things and they haven't worked and you've just gone and done it again. Like, that's absolutely okay. Did some edits, was quite happy with them. Then you can see that I'm moving on now to my next topic, but it's still related. So I like to show the progression through these slides with like a little arrow showing that I've gone from this edit, which reminded me of a process that I've previously done before, which is cyanotypes, and now I'm moving on to cyanotypes because the Prussian blue was quite similar. I've got my research based on the theme, process, research based on a photographer, and then I've got my first set of cyanotypes, which did not go right, but I still put it in there. And then obviously I'm trying it again now, and I'm just showing the overall process and explaining what I did and what I did differently to before. These were my finished cyanotypes, and then I'm showing how I've responded to Anna Atkins, who was one of the first female photographers who did this whole book on cyanotypes. You can probably learn more about her if you want to, but I wasn't necessarily copying her work, but I just wanted to show how I tried to kind of gain inspiration from photographer like her. And then I did some edits because, of course, if you paint on the chemicals, it's quite uneven. Then these were my final edits. And then I moved on to lumen prints, which is quite similar to cyanotypes, but I remember that I did some research here and photographer research. You don't have to do photography each one, but if you're at a point where you just think I don't know how to progress, then you can gain inspiration. I think that's okay. And then different styles. The style that she uses was quite minimalist, and I showed the process again in the darkroom and some response edits. Then I did some more. I think this is a different photographer now, and you can see here I'm doing some more lumen prints, and I remember not being very happy with how these turned out, but regardless I still did them. I used some different types of paper just to experiment, so some ones that were a bit older than, and then some new ones too. And then I did some edits because I wanted to accentuate the pictures because I don't think they turned out very good, if I'm honest. Then again, comparing my work. And now we're moving on to scanography or scanograms, whatever you want to call them. Not a lot of people have heard of these. Essentially, it's just scanning in something to create a digital image. Now, it might seem like a bit of a stretch, but essentially I was just trying to kind of experiment with as many kind of cameraless photographic processes as possible, and one of that popped up was scanography that I saw on Pinterest. And then I've got my research here. I did move on to photographer research, but this is just general research about the actual kind of process itself and kind of the history, what it is, how it's done. And then I moved on to my photographer research. And I did some sketches to just show the idea I wanted to do, and plan out my photo shoot. So exactly what equipment I need, and the composition, which I think is the most important, because going into it, you don't really want to go in blindly. You want to have basis of an idea. And I did some photographer analysis of her work. Just by looking at her pictures, she didn't really speak about her process too much, but just by looking at her pictures, I could see the way she did it, which was just literally scanning her flowers, getting the JPEGs or PNG, of her flowers with no background, and then using those on Photoshop to rearrange the composition. And so I headed to get my flowers, and then I just showed the process I did, and I did do some where I did them individually, and I did others where I composed them in the scanner. Then I've got my contact sheet, and some here, you can see they turned out a bit blurry, but these were the ones that I think I was most happy with. And also these, where I followed her editing style, not like replicated, just inspired by. Then I've got edits, evaluation, showing the layers, which I thought kind of showed how, long this actually took me. Just, show my work, I guess. And then I decided, okay, I want to revisit something that I didn't previously visit. In Spain, I saw in this art gallery, I saw these shadows from the flower exhibition, and I decided, okay, I'm going to pursue shadows. Got some inspiration, and then I set out to do my photo shoot. And here's my contact sheet. This was probably one of my smaller photo shoots where I didn't take so many pictures, but it's mainly just to progress into the next photo shoot. Did some edits, and then I'm starting to plan my kind of experimentation with shadows and flowers. So I literally just took some when I was on holiday. These aren't great, but this was just, again, a concept. Some edits. And then I went to Pinterest and found some pictures of ones where I wanted to do them on people, and I got some photo shoots. Photo shoot plans, planning the location, planning the people, the equipment, everything like that, and the lighting, composition, etc. And then I found some ones in black and white just because I wanted to. I then did my photo shoot. So you can see then I set out to do my photo shoot. And I've got lots of pictures and analysis, my contact, and some edits that I also did. And some black and white edits. Then, as I previously experimented with portraiture during the shadow photo shoot, I decided, okay, I want to do some double exposure editing. So again, I'm sticking to the same kind of theme, but I'm changing my editing style. And I did some edits. More edits. I think these were a bit rushed, I'm not going to lie. More edits. Then I went to a rationale sheet because I got to a point where I was a bit stuck and I wasn't sure how I want to move forward. And of course, my whole project was based on nature, and it was now approaching autumn, so I had to kind of think fast. So I just got my best pictures and thought, okay, what am I going to do now? Then I decided, okay, I'm going to do some pressed flowers. I think I again saw this idea on Pinterest. And I did some research and history and methods, things like that. And I did my photo shoot plan. And I trialed and tested quite a few processes. So I did some ironing of flowers, which really didn't work, but I explained here why I thought it didn't work. And then I decided I'm going to scan them in. I think I did iron them in the end, but the first process I was using to iron them didn't work. But so I ironed them, then scanned them. And these are my scans. And then I think I edited some of them, like in the style I had done previously with the scans. And I spoke about what I want to do moving forward. I did do a second photo shoot just with a different colour background. Yes. Edits, I think these ones are my edits here. And then I decided I want to move on. Now, this next stage was initially supposed to be my final piece, but after doing like one of them, I decided I hated it and I didn't want to do this as my final piece anymore. But I found this idea, actually my teacher showed me this idea, I think on Instagram it was, where these people, they did they dried their own flowers and then they would make these amazing prints that you can see above. So I decided I wanted to do that, of course, on a smaller scale. And most of the flowers I actually bought from Etsy, but some of them I also dried and flattened by myself. So you can see that this is me just arranging my flowers. and kind of doing the process, which was very fiddly, very annoying. So I believe these are the finished ones that you can see here. And then what I went out to do was I decided that I wanted to frame them. I'm not entirely sure where I saw this picture, I got this idea from, but I decided I wanted to frame the actual prints in physical frames and then take them out into the forest and like hang them and just have the background be nature, because just them alone looked quite plain and boring. Then I've got my contact sheet and my edits from this photo shoot. And this was probably one of my best pictures from this photo shoot, so I'm just doing selective colour edits. And from this photo shoot, I kind of got a sense of what I wanted to do next, which was that I wanted to pursue kind of continuing with the theme of reclamation, just in a more autumnal manner. So, because obviously the season had changed, but previously all of my pictures were quite green, and I wanted to revisit some old locations. So I had got some previous ideas from photographs I have taken before, and some ideas from Pinterest. And I set out with my photo shoot plan on every single week exactly where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, and what pictures I'm going to take. More inspiration pictures. Then I did my first photo shoot, which did not go well. These pictures were a bit better, but as you can see, they aren't exactly what I set out to achieve. But I did do some edits, and I did use the hue tool in order to get them to the colour I was kind of expecting. The photograph to the left actually didn't make it to my final piece, but it's still quite good. More edits, more edits, more edits. Then I did my second photo shoot plan. And then I believe this is my second photo shoot. And some edits from the second photo shoot. Then my third photo shoot, which was very short, but I did visit the Barbican again for some exhibitions. More edits. And this was just kind of a side photo shoot, it wasn't exactly planned. Final piece edits. So I'm getting to the end of my personal investigation here, and I'm thinking what I want my personal investigation to look like. So from the beginning of, after I finished the flower process, I decided I wanted to start with the final piece. And here I've got my 4 final photographs, and I've written about them, and I've just displayed them. So I individually got them and then printed them. And I explained how I want to present them, because of course I've got them printed in frames now, but you know, it's kind of easy to do, so I wanted to do something a bit more interesting. I went out into the woods and I hung them onto like a branch of a tree, and I literally just took pictures of them on there. I mean, I'm simplifying it, of course it wasn't that simple, but yeah, it took a lot of scouting out the location, and you know, I had to be quite particular about the length of the string and also the order of the photographs and the lighting. That was also very difficult. You can see the shadows on the bluebells. And this is my final piece. I've got my photographs and my analysis all in there. And I also did a selective colour edit, because I mean, I like this photograph, but I just think that obviously I'm trying to emphasise the fact that this is my final piece, not the actual picture, and the background is just an add-on, although I do think this edit is a bit cheap and it kind of looks fake. And so that is everything in my personal investigation, and yeah. Some tips I had for the A-level, I'm going to do this really quickly, but some tips that I had for the A-level is make sure it's continuously moving in a strategical way, so you're flowing your work throughout and you're moving on and on to each topic, for example, and you're kind of telling a story for your work. Make sure you add the personal element. After all, it is a personal investigation. It needs to have some kind of personal element, even if you just quickly say why it's personal to you in your final piece. It doesn't have to be completely obvious just from the pictures. Make sure you experiment with lots of different media forms and non-photographic methods, even if that's in editing. Do not compare your work to other people. I know that kind of defeats the purpose of this video, but this video is not meant to be a comparison. It's meant to just like kind of show people who are new to the A-level what kind of the layout of the work that you're supposed to do, and how you can lay out your work and how you can kind of analyze your work. So this video is meant for people to like pause it and kind of have a look, rather than think about the ability of the photographs. Make the most of holidays, travel, days out, family trips, wherever you're going with your friends, even if it's fucking Reading Festival, anywhere. Literally make the most of those days out, because trust me, you're not always gonna have time to do a whole photo shoot every single week. Luckily I did have quite a lot of time throughout my A-levels, where because I did take subjects which didn't require much kind of time outside of school. I would say if you're in London, you probably are at an advantage, or if you live in a big city, for example, like Manchester or somewhere, because there's so much going on. Get yourself into free galleries, free exhibitions. Photography's gallery in Soho. If you're under 18, free tickets. Writing is important, but not the be-all and end-all. I probably wrote more than I needed to. Analysis. Waffling is okay. I did that, so. Predicted grades, not the be-all and end-all. Negative marking, I think exists for photography. I'm like 99% sure that negative marking takes place, which essentially means that your grade can go down. So if you were getting an A at the beginning of the year, you may be getting a C at the end of the year. If the quality of your work reduces, then your grade can go down, because it's a coursework subject, which is insane. Photo shoot plans, yes. Sketches, yes. If you can't draw like me, that's fine, it doesn't matter. Draw stick men, that's what I did. It worked. You have to have artist studies, but don't copy the artists. Pinterest will be your best friend. Dedicate 1 day a week, if you can, to photography, even if that's literally just getting all your coursework done, all your analysis, and taking a few pics. Also, I'm going to stick the AO assessment objectives just here, because not a lot of people are aware of them. 1, inspiration from artists. 2, experimentation. 3, photographs. And 4, analysis and evaluation. So all of those equate to 25% each. Any questions, stick them below. Bye bye.